how have you learned to make friends and connections as a person when you're not really identifying as that athlete anymore? And yeah, you don't have the gear, you don't have the things, and you kind of got to just go out in the wild.
I'm out of this like group friendship model, I would say, because you're all just like, okay, we're all going to be together.
Yeah.
Now I had to enter into this like individual mindset of, okay, I can sit in my room and I can like read my books, watch my TV shows, doom scroll, all these things, but the Lord wants us to be in community. This is how I built my community, and this is different for everyone. But
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Now What podcast. I'm your host, Sierra Stout, and today I'm joined by my lovely guest and friend, Miss Cassie. Cassie, thanks for hopping on today. I'd love to hear what sport you played, and yeah, where are you from?
I was a rower. I did crew at Michigan State, and I have not rowed before that in my life. So long story short, grew up doing everything and all the things. But mainly in high school, volleyball, soccer, and basketball. I was going to play Division II soccer somewhere in Florida, and I just felt this call to go to Michigan State and give a different sport a try. And honestly, it was probably one of the best decisions that I've been granted. And now we're here. But I am originally from West Michigan, a town called Spring Lake. It's pretty small, but it's beautiful, on the west coast of Michigan, where we get all the sunsets on the lake. It's beautiful. And
There you
now
go.
I live, work, and everything else in Nashville, Tennessee.
Today, I definitely wanted to kind of focus on obviously the world within athletics, and then obviously with this podcast kind of transitioning afterwards. But I wanted to hit on community and kind of go there and have conversations that I don't feel like many people are having. So I'd love to kind of go back of being in college, and I just wanted to ask, like, how would you describe the kind of community that's existing within college athletics? Where it's genuine versus conditional, because I know, like we've said, it's just kind of a random sum of people who show up and you're on the same team. So yeah, what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I mean, every team size is different too, so that's its own thing.
Yeah.
Think about community. You're kind of recruited, or you show up on campus and people kind of like pick you out of a crowd, and you're on this team with just people you've never met before. I didn't really know anyone going to Michigan State. I went to a smaller high school, and a lot of them go to smaller schools, which is fantastic, great education there. And I think I was the only one from my high school to go to Michigan State. And so I was like, okay, like figuring it out.
Yeah.
So I knew I needed community, and it just happened to be rowing. And so there's ways to make the big pond small, and whether that's for us, athletics was a big one. Us, like some other things can be just different groups, whether that's clubs or different religious groups, or like for me, I had something called Athletes in Action, but I did that through rowing. It's under like the crew umbrella in
Mm.
terms of ministry. You have to find ways to make a really big pond, like, well, a smaller pond basically, and you
Yeah.
find the people you want to be around. Yeah, so but community changes all the time. I mean, especially like with girls, like something can happen, it just changes complete dynamics of community. So working through that as well, and rowing specifically, we coincide with Title IX, like for football. So we have a lot of
Oh,
girls
shoot.
on the team. So it's a lot, just in terms of dynamics, people, what boat you're in. And so you get closer to people based on just even like how fast you are. They'll line you up
Yeah.
sometimes. And so almost like how fast you are can become your community as well. But then that can
That's
change if someone gets
crazy.
injured, or like you're sick, but you're at practice, but you're not doing well. So then you like drop people because you're not going that fast that day. Constantly changing. Things change over the summer. You get a new transfer, everything between. So community constantly changes, but it's like it's a random curated group of people, and you just figure out which ones you match with, but also you don't want to be a cookie cutter like
Yeah.
shape and be with the same people all the time too. So
I think I didn't process it until afterwards, but showing up and ending up with a random group of people who is your family during your time while you're there. some people, yeah, you're going to be a lot more like-minded, others maybe not so much, and kind of navigating those relationships, especially, yes, being girls, it's like I think that adds another layer of complexity to it. But do you feel like during that time you realized, how much your identity was wrapped up in that? And what I mean by that is just like how much of your social life and identity was built for you through your sport? And did you actually realize that while you were there? Because I know it was kind of handed to us. So,
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time pondering this because when you're in it, you're like, oh, it doesn't define me. It's not like who I am, it's what I do. Like the amount of times I've said that
yep.
is astronomical. I was a part of a great organization I kind of mentioned earlier. It's called Athletes in Action, but it's how to glorify God using your platform within sports and bringing Jesus like into your teams. It's a ministry where we talk about that, and it's like, okay, like what is your identity? Like, is it your sport or is your identity in Jesus? And I'm like, oh, it's in Jesus. I love him. He died on the cross for me to save my sins. All these things, like I am here because of him, and I know I'm called to be on the rowing team because of my belief in Jesus. Then I got mono. I got sick my junior year, and that was right before COVID. But I was doing, as I mentioned earlier, athletic training and rowing at the same time, and everything was just like taken from me. I feel like my joke is I peaked sophomore year of college. I was in the boat I wanted to be in. We did well at Big Tens. Started like dating a guy, like all these like things you'd want in college.
Yeah.
I like had that, and then junior year hit, and it was like, nope. I was like,
Psych.
okay, so my community changed so much within that, but also just like my, I mean, my identity of sport and rowing got taken away because I physically could not stand up for more than 15 seconds. It it took me like years to like fully get over it and like be okay, even like mentally, like trying to go for like a run. And then we had COVID hit in the spring of my junior year, but in a way I felt protected because like from the Lord where he was like, you're not gonna spend all this time training just to not have a season. So in a weird way, COVID or like mono helped me with the COVID thing, but my community changed drastically. So I remember like breaking down and for my mom being like, everything I've worked for is like going to be gone to the point where I almost emailed the track coach just to like hold on to like sports and just do something
Yeah.
different to like be a part of something bigger than myself, even though I had this like Christian ministry and like I know my identity like comes from the Lord, but you're still so wrapped up in it. And like I was like, well, my friends are on the team, then you feel ostracized. And this is like all in our
Yeah.
sports psychology classes that I had to take in college. I was like, I'm living through everything that I'm learning about. And I was like, it's not fun. And so
Mm-mm.
that was one of the hardest parts of my life too. But just with COVID, I was like, okay, I didn't spend all this time training. So that changed. And as much as I'm like, oh, yeah, like it's just something I did, I'm like, no, that was my identity. I still talk about
Yeah.
it to this day. It's on my resume. It's like you put the uniform on, or like I still wear my athlete coat. Like you still have all these like things, and you're like, this was who I was. Like I was important. It's like no, like you still have your community that cares about you for like who you are, not what you did in college.
Yeah.
So that's a very long answer of everything, but
No.
like it all like one thing can just cause this domino effect. But as much as I'm like, oh, it was just something I did, no, it like it was my identity. Like it's still
Yeah.
a little bit a part of it too, because it's like, oh well, I did this.
100%. Yeah. I mean, that's how we even connected. Oh, you played a
Mhm.
sport in college. Hey, me too. And it's like you just automatically kind of
Yeah.
gravitate towards people who are like-minded, and we kind of come from this similar backgrounds because we've walked through it. And with that though, I did want to ask, when you said that, you got sick, and weren't able to perform, and then you get this new coach and kind of everything started being stripped away little by little. Did you notice that, when your reputation changed and as you kind of started to take a back seat from the athletic world, did you notice the relationships start to change like after you stopped playing within teammates, or just kind of noticing almost like a silence? I don't know if it's just the fewer check-ins from people, or did you notice a withdrawal from anybody during that season, or
Definitely yes, like to a withdrawal. And some of it isn't on purpose. Like That
Yeah.
just happens. You have different schedules at this point. I did have some good roommates, and like I'm the maid of honor in her wedding now because like we're
Mm,
still remained close through all this. I was in another wedding from another teammate. So some of
dang.
those things, like those changed over time. And like we had our low points and stuff. And so there is a natural withdrawal process, but at the end
Yeah.
of the day, like you're the real one, stay, and you just live your life on from there.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like, we know the sport will come to an end and it's kind of in the back of your mind, but I think there's a lot of aspects with that season coming to an end that nobody is talking about. And part of that too is just grieving the loss of like a built-in community, right? Nobody's talking about that. I know for myself, yes, I'm friends with some teammates, other ones that's not really a relationship anymore, and like you wish them well, but it's just a new season. And I think in the back of my mind I just thought, because I'm in proximity with these people, I'm going to do life with them forever, whatever that looks like. And that's not always the case. And like you said, it's part of it is the proximity. And when you move on, you move on. But yeah, how did you kind of grieve that piece? Now I kind of want to transition to just after playing. You're out of it now. You're in the real world. You're getting a job and doing all the things. But how have you learned to make friends and connections as a person when you're not really identifying as that athlete anymore? And yeah, you don't have the gear, you don't have the things, and you kind of got to just go out in the wild and be like, "Hey, you, you want to be my friend?" But what does that look like?
Yeah, that's looked different in so many ways. And I feel like this can resonate with just a lot of different people because I've walked through different parts. So, and that's vague, so I'll get to it. But so post grad, I went to grad school. So, in a way, that's another team aspect. So, I went to Vanderbilt for nurse practitioner school, and all of those friends, like you are in the same classes. Like, I sat next to my friends I made first day and we clicked. And then I had a girl in my clinical group. So it's all these like it's like another team because you're like going
Right.
through all these things together. So I had all those friends, and then those friends have other friends, and then you're in group projects. So you make all these people this way, and I'm still so close to these people like that I made these deep friendships with in grad school. And
Yeah.
then so being in Nashville, like I stayed in Nashville. I've now worked for 2 years. Okay, but everyone left. Now what? So you start over again. It is a constant thing. Now I'm out of this like group friendship model, I would say, because you're all just like, okay, we're all going to be together.
Yeah.
Now I had to enter into this like individual mindset of, okay, like I can sit in my room and I can like read my books, watch my TV shows, doom scroll, all these things, but the Lord wants us to be in community, or I can go out there and be scared. It's scary making new friends, or just coming up to someone and being like, "Hey, yeah, like I like your shirt, your hair, like whatever that is," and just trying to start to get conversations going. So what did that look like? So I would say I would give this like a year ago. I was really being like, okay, I need to find community here that I'm proud of, and the Lord has blessed me with an abundance I can't even fathom and explain.
Hmm.
Um, but you have to put yourself in those positions in order for Him to work as well. So, year ago, like this is how I built my community, and this is different for everyone. But being like an individual person, being like, I gotta make more friends who I'm proud of, and I want to like seek long term relationships and friendships with. Um, I started going to a new church and like actually got involved. I was like, this is my goal. Like this year, like Lord help me. And honestly, this is crazy. Like first when I tried, I ran into people I met years prior, and I was like,
Hmm.
whoa, okay, I feel like I need to go here. So I started going more, started meeting more people. I always like love having a little buddy. Like find a buddy, find your person that's a buddy. And if you don't have that person yet, like you just have to go to things. And
Hmm.
so met a ton of people that way. I mean, you and I met 3 years ago at a Christian athlete thing, and I was just trying to find community that way as well. And then we like got each other's numbers. I followed you on Instagram. That was it. And then Run Club is another great community. I hate running. Now I'm running a half marathon. So you never know what's going to happen to you. But
That's all right.
started going to my friend's run club, and then you and I ended up at the same run club on the same day. And you were like, "Oh, you kind of look familiar." And then I told you your whole life story of your name and you where you played golf, and you're like, "This is crazy." So you never know how people are going to be brought back in or taken out of your life.
Mhm.
Community changes in that way. In your 20s, it's hard. It is lonely. It is very lonely. You experience just different depths. Like I'm laughing, but I'm like, oh, like it's so heavy. And people are like, yeah, how do you meet people? You just do it. I don't like. There's not a science. You just have to be scared. You just have to do
Yeah.
it, and you don't have your team anywhere to back you up. But it's the ultimate like individual sport because you're like,
Yeah.
okay, so
I love that. No, it's so good and true, and it is funny looking back to the day when you and I both showed up to the run club because I remember the night before, I was so scared. Like, and it sounds so silly, but it's just the insecurity of like, man, but I just left the job that I was at and I knew that gave me proximity and community. And so I just knew that in that transition of a season, I was like, I need to be intentional because if I want community, I'm gonna have to put on my big girl pants and go do it. And so showed up and now I'm like, gosh, I have so many more friends. It's like 10 I showed up one day and I got 10 times more and it's like it's worth doing it, it might feel a little awkward, but it's like we're all human. Like, just go go make conversation, and you never know what's going to happen there. But if you could normalize one thing about kind of this transition season, really just focusing on community, and for the athlete who's listening to this, who maybe it's fresh in this and they're feeling really alone right now, what would that be? What would you say to them?
I mean, grieve the loss. It's still a loss, regardless of how it ended. Whether you left as a national champion or you were like bottom of the totem pole, like never saw the field, like it's still a part of you. It will always be a part of you. You're always going to talk about this sport. You're going to talk about that university you played at and oh I was on the team when this guy or was on the team and now he's in the NFL and he's doing these things like it's still a part of you but you still have to grieve that loss and grief comes and goes like everyone's like oh would you go back to rowing I'm like ooh I don't know but I really miss the way the boat sounds and there's a feeling you just don't like I can't even explain it but it would be fun to do like oh a race together but not at that capacity
Right.
um to the person who's coming out of it and like all those things honestly college athletics is probably the hardest thing like one of the hardest things you're going to do in your life and so like making friends it is scary but you just have to start somewhere and then it just gets easier
Yeah.
like you show up to class your first day at school and it just gets easier and so just practical things just being nice like just talking to people
Yeah.
not just tunneling into your phone and being like, oh, like all these people have great friends. It's like it's hard work, but also coming out of athletics, we're used to the mundane and sitting in the same cycle, the same schedule all the time. It's like it is something you have to work at. Like if you want to run a faster mile time, you got to work at that. And so it's a lot of these same mentalities, but it's into building relationships versus like building a team. And so just you just gotta put one foot in front of the other and just do it. And you'll find the people you want. And like going back to like us meeting like at the run club, people at run club were asking, they're like, wait, how long have you guys known each other? Because they thought we knew each other for years. Like there's
Yeah.
people you're gonna meet and you just click and you're like, we're silly, goofy gals. But then there's people you're gonna meet and you're like, that didn't work out and that's okay like but at least like you learn something and you put yourself out there and that's all you
Yeah.
really can do so
Yep. If you've been practicing at your sport your entire life, now it's time to practice making friends. So buckle
it
up. You're going to
is
have good days. You're going to have
it's a
hard
learned
days.
skill like trust me like
Yeah, man. Good skill to have, though. And I'm grateful because now we're sitting here doing this, Cassie. So I'm glad we both
Great.
had the guts to show up and say, "Hey, you, I know who you are." Oh man, no, that's so good. But I appreciate you coming on today, talking, sharing a little bit about your story. And obviously, for anybody who's listening to this, if you ever want to reach out, you can always follow us on the socials. The link will be down in the description. But Cassie, I appreciate you. And we'll see you guys next time on the Now What podcast.